To this Football League season, it's the League Two playoff final, Cheltenham and Crewe for a place in League One next season. Your commentators Andy Hinchcliffe and Bill Leslie.
Craig Paulson, our referee here. A fascinating clash of clubs and in some way of ideologies here. We know about Crewe's emphasis on youth. 18 of their 26-man first-team squad homegrown tells you all you need to know about that. Cheltenham have been more about unearthing unpolished gems from elsewhere, leaning on the loan market, juggling their resources to form a winning team. And here's McGlashan. He certainly turned it on for the cameras in those two semi-finals against Torquay, scoring in both legs. Crewe immediately looking to get on the front foot. You'd expect them to enjoy the wide open expanses of this perfect Wembley playing surface. And they look to have settled straight into their stride, don't they? Byron Moore provides pace. This is the manager's son, Harry Davis.
I'm sure the managers will say to the players, look, it's not easy, but we have to get over the novelty of playing at Wembley. We've got to stick to the game plan to get the job done here. And you can see straight away Crewe, what kind of side they are. They get on the ball and they're going to give Mark Yates' team lots of problems. Steve Davis will encourage him to go out, get that ball and knock it around. You see in the opening minute, that's exactly what they've done.
5 wins in their last 6 games for Cheltenham. It shows that they do have deep character within the squad. There are many who've not been able to overcome the disappointment of missing out on automatic promotion, and that has served itself as a bit of a hangover in the playoffs. I was asked Sheffield United about that yesterday. Two fullbacks for the return from Nick Powell, the youngest player out there at the age of 18 and probably the most discussed player as well.
Well, the Cheltenham defence have a lot of thinking to do in how they deal with Nick Powell, because he won't play throughout the game as a true centre-forward alongside Leach Smith. He will drop into the spaces as he did there in between the lines of the midfield, and back four look to get on the ball and get Crewe moving forward. He's a creative player as well as a goal scorer.
Football League Apprentice of the Year, Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year at Bresky Road. His billing is a lofty one. Davis. Mohamed getting on the ball. Rolling it rather than firing it wide.
He's a long way out, he's on his right foot as well, but Mohamed is a real danger. Normally going on the outside of fullbacks, this time he comes and joins in, comes infield. He might as well have a pop in the early stages, a Wembley final. You just never know what can happen, but he's strong on his left-hand side.
He's got a good record of enjoying himself in the playoffs. Kaid Mohamed was one of the stars of the show for AFC Wimbledon in their conference playoff success last season. Adam Dugdale will clip this one forward for Crewe. A touch from Moore. Powell is operating wide on the right on that occasion.
Well, Cheltenham playing with the two strikers with Golding and Burgess. The service into them needs to be a lot better. They need to get the ball into the chest of their two strikers. They can retain possession, the whole side can move up the field, because at times Crewe will dominate possession, will force Cheltenham back. So when the Cheltenham side get it, the service to their strikers has to be good.
Powell. Martel. Moore. Davis. Certainly no lack of confidence from this comparatively young Crewe side in these opening stages. Knocking it about with aplomb. Here's Powell. McGlashan tigerishly biting back at him. Powell finding space. This is Summerfield. Powell. And that'll be a free kick.
Yeah, Cheltenham just giving the ball away a little cheaply. It's just encouraging Crewe to keep coming at them. Powell, a few occasions now, is just dropping off, picking the ball up. He's causing Cheltenham real problems.
It's going to be Ashley Westwood to fire this one in. Martel is up, Bugdell at the far post. Came off the head of the skipper.
There's certainly a bit of grappling in there. It's not the easiest ball to defend, but sure there's a bit of grappling. Artel, does he get hold of one of the Cheltenham defenders and force him over? He does. You can see they're just leaning on the back of the defender. It is a foul. The referee, right call.
Well, in many clubs, 31-year-old David Artel might not feel that old, but I bet there are times at Crewe when he does feel a little out of his depth in that respect. Mohammed. Struggling to hold on to possession early on, Cheltenham, when we heard Mark Yates talk about how that was part of their game plan.
There's a key battle in central midfield with Westwood and Murphy up against Summerfield and Pack, and that's generally where the tempo of games are dictated. At the moment, it's Westwood and Murphy who are getting on the ball, picking out Nick Powell, so that's why we see more of Crewe in the opening 5 minutes or so.
Elliott. Been a high boot there against Ben Burgess. And he certainly provides them with a target man, 6'4", plus the quiff of Ben Burgess. Scored a trademark header, didn't he, in that first leg home win against Torquay that proved to be so important in the end. Here's Leach Smith. He's tended to be eclipsed a little bit in terms of headlines, AJ Leach Smith, because of the form of Nick Powell, but he has had a wonderful season as well. Heavy touch from Mohammed.
It's not kept it, have we? It's a stick, isn't it?
Harry Davis. Murphy looking for Byron Moore.
Oh, it's so important for Cheltenham, especially Luke Summerfield. There's the destroyer really in central midfield. He's got to get closer to Luke Murphy because he's just going to spray balls around this Wembley surface. Big pitch here. If Murphy gets on the ball, he can pick out Byron Moore. He's got Matt Tootle down the left-hand side as well. They can really stretch the game.
Marlon Pack. He's given it away. Powell trying to take advantage. Summerfield snapping at his heels. Elliott's had a clear. Here comes Ashley Westwood, trying to manoeuvre himself into a shooting position. Taken off the toes of Luke Murphy. Cheltenham will now endeavour just to hold on to it for a little bit, which they're unable to do. Moore has it back. Powell. Releasing to Leach Smith. And repay the favour to Powell. And they can't keep squandering possession like this, Cheltenham, or they will be made to pay. Leach Smith, little slip from Powell. Burgess waited for it. Pack. He's lost out to Powell, who now has a little pocket of space. And this is where he enjoys picking it up. This is Murphy. Onto that left.
It was a fantastic start to the game from Crewe. Cheltenham just can't get out of their own half. Crewe really patient, keeping that ball moving. I mentioned about the midfielders, the central midfielders. They can play as far up the park as they want to do because they're dominating possession. That's why Murphy's on this ball on the edge of the Cheltenham penalty area. And this needs to change. If Cheltenham to get a foothold in the game, they need to get hold of the ball. They need to keep it much, much better.
It's not an afternoon to do a lot of chasing, is it? Powell again collecting. Leach Smith on the move ahead of him. Smith fars wide this time, but they are carving through Cheltenham at will at the moment. Crewe, Alexandra.
It's not for the first time. Leach Smith playing as the lone striker. Powell dropping in the hole, picks up the ball. He's looking for his strike partner. It's a decent run. There's no real conviction, though, in the shot on his left foot. Doesn't really trust himself. Maybe he should have kept possession and tried to pull that ball back rather than shoot.
He's enjoying himself today. He's enjoying his best run in the side. This is his 14th start in a row. Goals have come with that, 2 in his last 3. Elliott misjudging it. Garbutt, the on-loan Everton fullback.
True in all levels of football. If you dominate possession like that, you really need to grab a goal. You need to score when you're playing well. And Crewe are playing really well. Doesn't matter whether it's at Gresty Road or at Wembley, you need to take a chance. And a terrific start to the game.
Elliott pressing from the front, not giving the Cheltenham centre-halves any time on the ball, and Powell again closes in on Elliott. He'll be absolutely delighted with the start they've made on most levels. There's McGlashan. John Batty thought about getting forward, the run beyond, but here is the Portuguese fullback. He's threaded through McGlashan. Stung the palms of the goalkeeper. And now Crewe can break through Barron Moore. Powell. Away by Bennett, the Cheltenham captain. Leach Smith. Westwood. Moore. Powell. Burgess able to turn it around the corner. There's open ground ahead of McGlashan here. Burgess wants the early ball. McGlashan did well to pick out Goulding in the end. It looked like he'd run into a bit of a cul-de-sac.
The last opportunity with McGlashan in behind the Crewe defence. He could have picked out Jeff Goulding on the penalty spot. We'll get a chance to have a look at that, I'm sure, in a second. But a really open game.
Leach Smith. Moore. Launched away by Scott Brown, who was one of the heroes of that second leg. Torquay, when Torquay turned the pressure on, he had the answers, some good saves. And he's really come into his own. Jack Butland, who is now in the full England squad, of course, after the withdrawal of John Ruddy, had a spell on loan in League Two with Cheltenham. And since he was recalled by Birmingham, Scott Brown's returned to the side and stepped up to the plate. The way these opening 13 minutes have gone, you sense it may be an afternoon for him to do the same. Moore. Garbutt. Burgess. Goulding. Trying to pick out McGlashan. McGlashan is clipping Kelvin Mellor. Well, he had that opening earlier, didn't he, Andy?
Well, we saw it in the semi-final. A couple of goals that he scored running in behind left-backs. Exactly what he does here. He could have picked out Goulding, actually, on the penalty spot. He's looking for Burgess, which is a much more difficult ball. It's a really clever run. He stays on side. Just doesn't really make his mind up. Should be pulling that ball back away from the goalkeeper.
during the meetings between these two clubs in the regular season. It was Crewe that came out on top in both. But narrow margins, just 1-0 in both games. Here's Mella. Lovely turn, and what a goal that is! That is why he is so talked about. Top class from Nick Powell.
Well, Nick Powell, 18 years old. They're talking of maybe moving to the Premier League, and you can see why, because the finish is absolutely emphatic, but the turn on the edge of the penalty area is quite brilliant as well. He looks so simple, but he makes it look so easy, and that's why the top clubs are looking at this young man. What a stunning goal. You've seen it in the opening stages, just dropping off and picking the ball up. But this turn here, as he just turns away from 2-3 defenders, no second thoughts, just puts his left foot through the ball. And Scott Brown, absolutely no chance of stopping this. This is a quite stunning opening goal.
Nick Powell living up to the billing, giving Crewe Alexandra the lead at Wembley. Well, you can't say it hasn't been coming.
It's been fully deserved, but again, you've got to underline, 18 years old, to have the presence of mind and the ability, the confidence to take on a shot like that. Young players would maybe take 2-3 touches just to make sure they've got it under control. Nick Powell doesn't do that, gets it out of his feet, knows exactly where the goal is, and slots it right in the top corner. Incredible.
Not identical, but you're reminded a little bit of that Thierry Henry goal against Manchester United. The flick and the drive. One big similarity between them. Oozing with quality, both of them.
Well, it's instinctive, that's what it is. I just mentioned most players. I certainly wouldn't have taken anything on like that. Most strikers would think twice about turning and shooting from there, but for a young man to do that, quite incredible.
Cheltenham must respond, and they very nearly do. Goulding rattling the crossbar, followed in here. The flag is up.
Oh, we're talking about stunning strikes, and Jeff Goulding, doesn't he strike this one brilliantly? Steve Phillips maybe doesn't expect it, such a long way out. And it crashes off the bar. There's so many players then converging on the ball, it's very hard to pick out what actually happened. It's a good response from Cheltenham, though, from going behind. This is an awful long way out. Must be, what, 35 yards. Catches it brilliantly, catches the keeper out. He's back on his feet, Steve Phillips, but he's not sure. There's 3-4 players converge on that ball. Burgess is, well, he hindered. He wants to get to this, but a wonderful strike from Jeff Goulding. Just needs it to dip a little bit more. Does the keeper maybe get a fingertip on that? And they just about get away with it, but Ben Burgess is flying at that ball. It seems his own player actually gets in his way, and he can't get a header on it.
Well, the only game that he's started in recent months was on the final day when players were rested, regular first-team players were rested. He hasn't scored since January. Mark Yates said he threw him in today, Jeff Goulding. He just had a feeling that he might be able to produce on the big stage. He very nearly did, with a response of some measure.
You can see what happens when strikers drop off and pick the ball up. We've seen it with Nick Powell with the opening goal, and Goulding did the same thing, not up alongside Burgess. He drops in the hole to pick the ball up. Great position here, he picks it up, and it's the confidence and the ability to take this on. He's so unlucky, and they just can't force the follow-up in.
Almost need to remind you, we're watching the fourth tier of English football here. One stunning goal and one stunning attempt inside the first 19 minutes. Just holding it up. Summerfield's lost out. Westwood. Here comes Powell again. Golding. Here's Tuchel. Rick Murphy. Davis. Moore. Leach Smith. And have the free kick through.
Both sides, of course, matching up 4-4-2, but it can be a little bit predictable if you just play with your two strikers, as Cheltenham are doing, lumping it forward towards both of them. Crewe can get themselves set, challenge for the first header and pick the second balls up. As we saw with Goulding and with Powell, you just drop off, you just give defenders more of a problem. This is just a stunning goal, but look at his first touch. The finish is brilliant. His first touch away from 2 or 3 defenders, and then doesn't even have to look at the goal. He knows exactly what he wants to do. Puts his foot through it in the top corner. A quite stunning goal from a fantastic young player.
Mohamed. Garbett. Marlon Pack. John Batty is back in his preferred right-back position after filling in at left in both semi-finals. No change from Mellor, from McGlashan. And Martel can sweep it clear for Crewe. Summerfield loses out. Here comes Tuchel. Leach Smith on the move. Hanging it up for Byron Moore, who looks for Tuchel, who's coming off this left flank. Westwood to keep it alive. Tuchel. Cheltenham can breathe again. Goulding. Dunked out, stealing in ahead of Kaid Mohamed.
It seems at times that Cheltenham are really struggling to pass the ball on their surface. Seems to be a little bit stickier for them than it is for Crewe, so it's a confidence thing. They're just not putting enough on the ball, but in the warm-ups, that's what they're there for, to get a feel of the surface. It just seems Cheltenham really struggling just to pass the ball properly.
Well, it was certainly an interesting dilemma for Mark Yates for much of the season. He's alternated between 4-4-2 and 4-5-1 or 4-3-3 formation, whichever way you want to look at it. Started 4-4-2 in both legs of the semi-finals. They were excellent, particularly in the first leg. Nearly undone with that formation down at Torquay in the second leg. Opted to be bold here. If you look at this first quarter of the contest here, I would certainly say Crewe and their passing, Steve Davis' philosophy has been carried through a little better than Cheltenham have been able to come to the party.
The obvious problem for Mark Yates is Nick Powell. That's been underlined with the goal that he's just scored, but the position that he's playing is the major problem in terms of the team formation. And I mentioned maybe changed it. They've got Russell Penn on the bench. They brought him on in the second half against Torquay, and that made a big difference. And he's just trying to stop the influence of Powell, because if this carries on and Crewe continue to dominate possession, you can see them getting a second goal, and it's a long way back for Cheltenham.
Well, it was November when he moved back upstairs, Dario Gradi. 18th in the table they were. Steve Davis came in, didn't change too much, just brought a different slant on the Dario Gradi philosophy, which has been in place at the club since 1983. And the success story has gathered apace. Only 3 games before the end of the season that they came into the top 7, into the playoff places. And here they are, the lowest ranked side in the playoffs, leading in the playoff final. Summerfield. Well, you mentioned the problem of dealing with Nick Powell in the formation that they have out there at the moment. Whose job is it? Summerfield?
Well, what's going to happen is one of the strikers has to drop back into midfield, and Pack or Summerfield, probably Summerfield, you're right, has to really man-to-man marking when Crewe have possession, because He's picking up the spaces. There's players with nothing to do in Cheltenham shirts, so someone has to pick him up, and it's one of the two central midfielders that has to do that job.
You don't want a centre-half coming out, being drawn out of position, do you?
That's the last thing they're going to do. Experienced centre-halves, Alan Bennett, Steve Elliott, they're not going to step out there because they know the problems then will be behind them. So it's up to the central midfielders ahead of them. One of them just drop in, maybe Goulding drop off Burgess as well into midfield.
Little touch on, Goulding's in, but he's offside.
That's what I talked about, being a little bit predictable. I'm sure that Goulding is offside, but the Crewe back four, as Burgess goes up for this ball, they know they can keep the line. They can see Goulding running in behind them. You see, he just steps up there. It's a nice line. He's caught a couple of yards offside, and Crewe can do that because they know that Burgess is looking for that flick on.
Who started the season at Aldershot, was a January acquisition, really financed his fee. But, they played Aldershot by the good cup run that they had. Cheltenham, remember, beaten in the end, but setting up a third-round meeting against Tottenham. John Batty. Pack. Elliott. Bennett hanging it up. McGlashan. John Batty, good whip on that cross. Mohamed couldn't get his head to it. But Cheltenham seem to have settled. Garbett. Burgess, Mohamed!
Well, this is what Cheltenham need to do, is deliver that ball into Ben Burgess from higher up the field. It gives him a chance of maybe heading it goalward, or maybe heading it into the danger zone. That's exactly what he does here for Mohamed. So his right foot once again, he's on the half turn, he's under pressure. It's a difficult strike to control and keep on target.
Goulding. Summerfield. Pack. Burgess. Mohamed. Pack decided not to shoot. He's fed Garbett. And Cheltenham are starting to get some significant joy with their more direct approach.
Yeah, they have to get McGlashan, Mohamed into the game in wide areas, delivering dangerous crosses in. I see four Cheltenham players in the box, waiting for that ball in from Luke Garbett. That's what they've got to. That's what they've got to do. Be brave, get on the ball, get it wide.
Play to their strengths, which they are starting to do. We've already seen what Crewe's are. One throw from Marlon Pack. That'll be Cheltenham's first corner of the game. I'm sure this is an area that Mark Yates has inked in to try to exploit. Pack delivers.
There's complaints from the Cheltenham players that there wasn't a shove in there. Craig Pawson disagrees. I'm not a big fan of balls swung away from goal. They're a big side, Cheltenham, really should be whipping that in. Both centre-halves are up from the back as well. Is there a foul there? It seems there's an awful lot going on in there. The referee very harsh to the free kick, possibly against Burgess.
Well, it's the first half an hour, Andy, isn't it, that's belied the conditions. It's, if anything, as hot, if not hotter than yesterday. But these two sides have both adopted very positive approaches.
It's all about intent. Yesterday's game, Huddersfield, Sheffield United seemed keen on not losing the game. Both these sides seemed keen on winning it. Cheltenham made a bit of a rocky start. Crewe were certainly in the ascendancy, but Cheltenham come back into the game. They're starting to get their wide players involved, and They're desperate to get an equaliser before half-time.
Summerfield. Mohamed. This is John Batty. McGlashan makes another one of those runs in behind. Call comes from the keeper. An experienced Steve Phillips.
Kelvin Miller, the left-back for Crewe, has to have watched the DVDs of the semi-finals. And McGlashan kept doing this, coming short and then running in behind him. He's got him once already. That time he sees what the winger's looking to do and just steps across him.
Moore. Mohamed. Summerfield. He's found a way through to McGlashan. Summerfield. Pack. Well, in the first 20 minutes, every loose ball was being picked up by Crewe. Now it's a much more level playing field. McGlashan won't make up the ground there, though.
It's amazing how the balance of the game can really switch in the space of 10 minutes or so. Crewe started well, got the opening goal. Now it's Cheltenham starting to dominate the ball and force Crewe back.
If you missed it after the first 10-15 minutes, it was 67% in Crewe's favour. Well, it's an afternoon for refreshment, isn't it? Summer has arrived. 33.5 the pitch side temperature. The roof open for a football match here at Wembley for the first time. Thinking behind that, we were told, was that it would allow a little more breeze, or very nearly allowed an opening there for Byron Moore, who wasn't giving up the ghost, and Garbutt will breathe a sigh of relief.
It's fantastic goalkeeping from Scott Brown, because it's a really poor pass in the end. It's fairly comfortable up to this point. He just takes it easy here. It's a poor header. Byron Moore very nearly gets in there. Keeper does well.
Burgess again winning in the air. Goulding!
He's under some pressure from Adam Dugdale, but he'll be really disappointed. Jeff Goulding, that he's not at least hit the target here. This is the combination they're looking for, Cheltenham, with the front two. Great first touch. Sits up nicely. He's got to get over the top of that. Got to get his knee over the ball. You've got to hit the target from this position. It's really poor. Slashes at it. It's wild, and it's way over the bar.
Well, half an hour played. Time to take on a little bit of fluid. Credit to the players for producing what they have done so far. A thoroughly entertaining 33 minutes of League Two football.
I think this just underlines how hot it is down there on the field. It's hard when you're sat at home watching this. It looks a fantastic day, and it is, but the heat down there pitch side is incredible. It's good to see that the referees are being sensible as well and giving the players a chance just to take on some fluids.
Taking some on themselves as well. I spoke to both managers before the game, both very keen, having watched yesterday, not to have the extra half an hour and penalty kicks that the League One final required to separate Sheffield United and Huddersfield. And the way their sides have gone at it would suggest they're looking to finish it off in the regulation 90. But this is the moment, the standout moment of the match so far.
It's just a fabulous goal again. However you look at it, from whatever angle you look at it, it just gets better and better. The young player, so much promise. Just added maybe a couple of million to his price tag.
And if you believe what you read, that'll take it up to 6. In recent weeks, rumours have followed Nick Powell around as to his future. Here he is on the ball again. Tuchel picks up the bat, and advantage will be played by the referee. Can Tuchel take it?
Cheltenham fans aren't happy. They feel that John Batty there was just wrestled to the ground from Powell, which allowed Tootle to get in behind the Cheltenham back four.
Like Burgess, it's that combination again, albeit inside the Cheltenham half. Summerfield. John Batty. Moore. Smith, Moore, and it came across, just held up the Crewe flow. Smith staying out wide. Very nearly took him in behind Garbutt, who will settle for giving away the corner.
Well, it wasn't the greatest first touch again. The ball sprayed wide by Luke Murphy. Kicking out Leach Smith. Just managed to keep it in play. In the end, Garbutt's got to make a challenge, and Crewe come away with the corner.
So Crewe sat out their stall for their first corner kick. Got the touch by Elliott. And a goal in the first leg against Southend came from a set piece. Dugdale's header. Here's Powell, they're standing off him, and he very nearly made them pay again.
He is a whisker away from making it 2-0, and does really well. He uses his wide play as a decoy. John Batty thinks he's going to play in Tootle down the left-hand side when he cuts in field here. I think he's going to play this ball. He doesn't, takes an extra touch. He just strikes across that ball. It's always going away from that far post rather than curling back in. It's the way that he strikes the ball, which means it's always just going to drift wide.
Glashan running in. It was last ditch, but it was effective, and just as importantly, it was fair.
It was a crucial touch from Luke Murphy. This ball bounces up. McGlashan got away from the attentions of the Crewe defenders. Was going to get to this ball first, but Murphy doing a brilliant job on the cover. Times his challenge brilliantly. It's the job of a defensive midfield. You've got to get back in there at times into your own penalty area, make challenges, and that's a superb one.
It's another one of the marks of this current crop of Crewe players, academy graduates, that many of them are versatile, can play in different positions, whether it be along the back or across the midfield area. From Burgess, Goulding, Pack. Powell doing the tackling on the edge of his own penalty area, and effectively finding Leach Smith. Now Crewe throwing a few bodies forward. Westwood. And Powell might just make up the ground as it holds up on this dry Wembley turf. Tootle, Leach Smith. Leach Smith is onside. He's forced wide, goes for the cutback, and that allows the block for the corner.
Well, Alan Bennett does really well here. It's difficult for AJ Leach Smith. The ball just sits up, brilliant ball over the top. He's just about onside. Powell plays him in. The ball just sits up. It's difficult for him to strike first time. And Bennett does well. He stays on his feet, watches the ball, and manages to smuggle it away.
Martel was the near post runner. Fizzed in by Westwood, and Elliott got his head to it. Element of it could have gone anywhere.
We're talking about experienced defending from Alan Bennett. This time, Steve Elliott does brilliantly, virtually on top of his own goalkeeper, just lets it skim off the top of his head, does really well.
There's one he certainly needed to get right. Player who played in the Premier League for Derby County, Steve Elliott. Described in the programme today as the experienced barrel-chested centre-half. Westwood's corner, the keeper's blocked off. And the free header wasn't capitalised from Kelvin Mellor.
Oh, it's sloppy from Cheltenham, who just don't deal with it at all. No one reacts quick enough. And Mellor's on the move, gets in behind John Batty, gets up. And he'll be disappointed. He needs to keep this down. If he keeps this on target, he's so close, he probably scores.
He has scored once this season, coming into the side in this last dozen games of the season, Kelvin Mellor. John Batty. Murphy. Davis. Moore. John Batty read the Powell pass. Westwood trying to get it in for Leach Smith. Very nearly very good, but Elliott has the match for it. Bulldozing his way through that challenge. Goulding spotting a gap, driving for it. But I don't think he's got the pace to get beyond that pair, has he?
We need to see a little bit more of that from Jeff Goulding, just stepping away from Dugdale and Artell, getting the ball into his feet. Giving those two centre-halves a much bigger problem.
Garbutt's cross could turn out to be awkward. Artell read that danger.
This is where Crewe really do need to stand firm just before half-time. It's a really dangerous ball in. Artell, he makes that his. There's no way on earth the Cheltenham player's going to get to that before him.
And they're going to put the pressure on Steve Phillips. Goulding and Mohammed standing close. It's a well-worked routine, but without the end product. Summerfield's run found him in excellent space, but he couldn't find the shot. So Cheltenham reload, Pack's corner. And tipped over the crossbar. Cheltenham are coming on strong at the end of this half. Goulding's header.
It's a decent save, it's a decent height though for Steve Phillips. Sees it all the way as well and just gets a big palm on it. And there will be a danger. They're a big side, Cheltenham. It's not an easy header for Goulding. There's no real power on it, no real pace there. And the keeper can just tip it over the bar easily. A few times in this half the ball has fallen to Khalid Mohammed, and on his right foot he's got excited at every opportunity. He just needs to control this. I wonder Mark Yates can't believe it. They've had some good opportunities, they've just not worked the keeper enough.
Bennett. Didn't get that quite where he wanted it. Tuchel has got it here for Crewe. Leach Smith. Bennett's touch. Nick Powell was adjudged to be backing into him.
Well, this first half, it's been all about composure. Nick Powell really composed, brilliant finish, but there have been chances for Cheltenham. They just got a little excited in front of goal for Goulding and Mohammed, and I'm sure that's what Mark Yates will say to his team at half-time. We just need to be more composed, take it easy in front of goal, and a nice solid connection. Don't get excited and slash at that ball wildly.
Now come for Goulding again. Here's McGlashan. Well, the route to opportunity does seem to be route one here for Cheltenham Town as they seek this equaliser in the 3 minutes of added time.
And so close to the break, it's understandable that Cheltenham are just going to pump this ball forward and hope something breaks. McGlashan gets clobbered here. Is it Mellor that just catches him, and there's no foul in there? Ball bounces up. It's Mellor who clears the ball. It's an accidental collision, but a painful one for Jermaine McGlashan.
Off the line, back with Pack, who drills low, hoping for a break. Mohammed off the line again. Crewe are having to throw everything at it to try and keep Cheltenham out here. McGlashan.
Oh, just won't go in for Mohammed. Steve Elliott cannot believe it. They're pressing and pressing. On 2 occasions this is cleared off the line. Elliott's the first one with his header. And this is the second one when it breaks for Mohammed. This time he does keep his cool. And he's saying that ball is over the line. Very hard to tell.
Held in by Pack. Summerfield can only fire wide.
Just need to see whether this shot from Mohammed, does it go over the line? It breaks nicely to him. Lovely controlled strike. Is it over the line? No, it isn't. The whole of the ball is definitely not over the line. That's a quite brilliant clearance.
Moore looking for Leach Smith. Well, they might not have their equaliser, but they have certainly had their opportunities, Cheltenham. And Ashley Westwood with the sort of block that can turn a match, that can win a playoff.
We have instincts down one end to score goals and key moments in games, but Ashley Westwood, his instinct there to get back on the line and to react so quickly when the shot came in. It wasn't easy to clear it, and he did really well.
Well, the first half that in the searing sunshine has certainly entertained. It's a League Two playoff final thus far that's lived up to expectations, as has this young man. What a goal it is that separates the sides. Nick Powell, 16th of the season, means half-time here at Wembley in the League Two playoff final. It is Cheltenham Town 0, Crewe Alexandra 1.
Meet Jay Toe, a mild-mannered 9-to-5er caught in the daily grind. That was before he became a Super Coach champion. Get the latest fantasy footy secrets from the players themselves.
I think everyone else should jump on board as well.
With 50 grand on the line, the Super Coach Show gives you everything you need to live the fantasy.
Definitely keeping good form means good Super Coach points.
Live Thursday at 7 on Fox Footy.
My family have lived around here for at least 300 years, and now it's about to host the 2012 Olympic Games.
Tony Robinson's London Games Unearthed. World premiere Tuesday, June 19 on History.
This June on Nat Geo Adventure.
Morning.
You don't want to be afraid of heights. Check it out.
The 2012 Astra Awards nominee, favourite male personality, Phil Kearns.
And Philip Kearns savours the moment, his 8th test try.
Glenn Morrison, the referee, he had a great game, he kept the game flowing.
Well, I tell you, Clayton, they did try and go the pushover, but the forced scrum was equal to the task.
Here at the Rugby Club, we wish the very best of luck to Phil Kearns. So get involved and vote for the best male personality at the 2012 Astra Awards.
Vote now on Channel 333.
The Dogs go back to back, live on Monday Night Football.
At the new time of 6:30, the Sydney Roosters muscle up to the Canterbury Bulldogs.
And talk about a classic.
Then, the all-new NRL Extra, wrapping up all the weekend's action. Monday Night Footy, live in HD on Fox Sports.
From tee to green and everything in between.
There's a winner again.
Join Brett Ogle on The Golf Show for event highlights, player interviews and the latest from our Aussie stars. A week of golf in 1 hour. The Golf Show, Tuesdays on Fox Sports.
So Crewe it is, who are in the driving seat at half-time, ready to end their 3 seasons at this level, ready to start their climb again and get their first promotion from this level since 1994. Cheltenham, who have this proud playoff record, with it all to do, no changes for either side for this second half. But I dare say that Cheltenham would have been highly encouraged after their shaky start with the way that they had double the chances, double the shots on target, and the side who lead them at half-time.
Interesting team talks for both managers. I'm sure Mark Yates would have said to his team, look, we need to continue how we ended that first half. Let's not go to sleep in the break and start slowly in the second half. Take the game to Crewe. I'm sure Steve Davis has said to his players, look, we can't sit back on 1-0 for 45 minutes and try and see the job through. They are a side who love to go forward. They have to look to get another goal.
Goulding. Mohamed. Corner. Premier League fullback Luke Garbett from Everton will fire in the corner. Burgess, who'd made a run across, couldn't get enough contact on that. Adam Dugdale's the man down. It's not, it's David Artell.
Yeah, any set pieces, certainly corners, it's going to be tough for Crewe. They've got to stand firm. Both centre-halves come up for Cheltenham. And they're a big side, so you've got to be brave, and Artell has certainly taken a whack there.
Well, he is, of course, the player for Crewe who is playing through the pain barrier. Broken metatarsal. After the first leg of the playoff semi-final, he was on crutches with a protective boot. Miraculous recovery to play in the second leg at Roots Hall.
It's never easy to a big physical side. Steve Elliott is who jumps alongside him, just maybe as he lands. Awkwardly, we've got a broken bone in your foot. Every time you jump and land, it's going to be very, very painful. I'm sure there's maybe a pain-killing injection or two in that foot just to get him through this final.
Well, Cheltenham it was, of course, who finished 5 points better off than Crewe over the 46 games of the League Two season. And Crewe did the double over them. They've won the last 3 meetings between the clubs. McGlashan's challenge. He's done really well there, Jermaine McGlashan. Linesman's flag on the far side means he's got a free kick as well.
It's great tenacity, chasing Tootle all the way back, sliding in, winning the ball, getting straight on his feet, and running straight at the defence. This is brilliant wide play. That's what you've got to do as a wide player. It's not all about attacking play. You've got to work back. He does that. He's certainly clipped there and goes to ground, picks up the free kick.
And this is Cheltenham's strength. And they will be hoping a Crewe weakness, certainly with the likes of Burgess around. Elliott, who's come forward from the back. Mohamed, who can be pretty good in the air at times as well. Garbett whips it in. by Summerfield. It's not where he intended it to go. That's why Crewe can clear. Garbett, McGlashan. Marlon Pack. On by Summerfield. Here's Mohammed. The run of Summerfield outside him. Luke Summerfield was getting ready to pull the trigger when Harry Davis just got a boot in there.
Davis does really well. It's about concentration. You see a player running beyond you. You've got to watch the ball. You've got to watch the attacker as well.
Phillips able to gather. Well, they've started this second half where they left off the first, haven't they, Cheltenham? Looking the most likely. It's a measure of the way that Crewe have come back into the reckoning from what was looking like a relegation battle to the brink of promotion here. New year, Cheltenham with 13 places and 19 points ahead of Steve Davis's Crewe. He was only about 6 weeks into the job then, Steve Davis. And he's been around the club for a long time, both as a player and a coach behind the scenes. He knows about the Crewe way, and he knew what he needed to add, what he felt he needed to add to make them competitive. Goodness me, has he done that? 18 games unbeaten. It's a club record run in a single season. Summerfield. Mohammed. Pack. Oh, just wide from Marlon Pack.
A really patient build-up from Cheltenham. He does everything right, Marlon Pack, because this is really difficult strike ball coming across your body. You saw in the semi-final with the free kick he scored, he can strike a mean ball. He's under pressure as well. He's just trying to keep that away from the goalkeeper, but try and drift it inside that right-hand post. And it's a difficult skill, and he's a whisker away from equalising.
He was here as a Portsmouth fan. He's from that part of the world, the Buckland area of Portsmouth. He's got his extended family here. Upwards of 30 tickets he requested for the final, so they could all come and watch him here. He's had an excellent season. He was on a real low after being released by Portsmouth last summer.
Well, he is Cheltenham's playmaker. He's a player that they need to get on the ball. We see how devastating he can be with his shooting. He's a player in this second half that really needs to come to the fore if Cheltenham are to get back into the game.
Voted by his peers, Marlon Pack, as well in the PFA League 2 Team of the Year. Moore. Davis. Leach Smith. Broken up by Summerfield, something he did so effectively, particularly in that first leg of the semi-final when he won man of the match against Torquay. Moore. Goulding. It's a lot of ground for McGlashan to make up. Very nearly did it. Touch from Mellor. And a corner for Crewe, out of nothing really.
It's a fantastic race between McGlashan and Mellor. So McGlashan trying to get the Cheltenham fans going on that goal that they're attacking now, but it's just chased that ball down and did really well to get a corner out of pretty much nothing.
Around 10,000 Cheltenham fans packed into that end of the stadium that side are attacking in this second half. Swept away by Powell. Everyone's been pulled back to defend the corner, so there's plenty of time here for John Batty. Burgess. Martel away. Byron Moore. Westwood. Summerfield breaking it up, typically tenacious style. Pack, run through the middle from Mohamed. Might get a bit lucky. Mohamed! Fine save from Phillips. Well, the luck was involved with the way that the ball broke to him, but there was no luck in the save from Phillips, who smothered it in fine style.
When it fell to Mohamed's left foot, I felt he's either going to take it round the keeper or certainly put it past him. You're absolutely right, Steve Phillips does well. He stays on his feet, very experienced goalkeeper. Didn't give Mohamed anything to shoot at. In the end, it's a poor finish, but a decent save.
Scott Brown fires it deep. Too deep for Ben Burgess to get anything on it. He's had some chances this afternoon, though, Khalid Mohamed.
This all comes again from Marlon Pack getting on the ball, being the creator. Bit of good fortune here. He definitely has a good look at the goal. He has a choice whether to go round the keeper or take the shot on. He goes for the shot, but he just maybe gets stuck underneath his feet a little bit. Doesn't catch it cleanly. You've got to give the keeper credit. He stays on his feet. He makes himself big, and it's a good stop.
Summerfield leading the Cheltenham charge again. Well, you would suspect, given that the pattern from the first half's continued, that Crewe will be looking to keep hold of the ball. That's their strength. They haven't been allowed to, though. Summerfield has become much more of a force, Powell much less of a force in the last 20-25 minutes of action over both halves.
The bulk of the chances are going Cheltenham's way, but it's all about taking them. Some good opportunities, but it's all about putting that ball away, and they get an equaliser, everything changes.
Leach Smith appealing for handball. The referee Craig Pawson's not going to give it. McGlashan. He's given it to Powell. Looking for Leach Smith. He's the only survivor, actually, at the club of the last Cheltenham playoff success back at the Millennium Stadium in 2006. He was an unused substitute. And they beat Grimsby Town. John Ward, the manager. Presence of Burgess, even though Dugdale has the beating of him for pace, but they do have a throw-in in deep Crewe territory.
It's not glamorous from the keeper. Scott Brown, long kick downfield. If they don't allow Crewe to clear their lines easily, then they pick the ball up in a dangerous area, long throw.
Just taken by Garbett. Moore. Westwood. Leach Smith. Tootle's made a run forward. Here he is, looking for the return to Leach Smith.
Leach Smith is one of those players who's always on the move, little give and go there. He's always looking to find some space, get in behind defenders. Alan Bennett, very experienced, did really well, just put himself in between Leach Smith and the ball and just shepherds it out for a goal kick.
Bennett's come out to deal with him this time. Pack closing in. Murphy did well to get out of a tight situation. Dugdale's ball. Leach-Smith, good strength, but excellent defending from Bennett. Mohamed. Foul. That's the hour mark now, and still that moment of magic from Nick Powell on the quarter of an hour mark is what separates the sides. Cheltenham have huffed and puffed. Seen one's come back off the crossbar, one's blocked off the line. Here's Elliott, back across goal. Mohamed, by Dugdale. And a free kick for Crewe.
It's so important for Crewe when those long balls are played into their penalty area. They do react to the second ball. Steve Elliott wins the first header. Crewe do really well to react once that header comes in from Elliott, and they manage to guide it clear and then pick up the free kick and clear their lines. But it's not easy. These long balls are pumped forward. Elliott gets onto this. It's about reacting when this header comes across. Crewe do really well. 1-2 players attacking that ball. Pick up the free kick. And they can breathe again.
Powell. Moore. There was a challenge from Garber that needed to be spot on, and it was just that.
It's never easy for full-backs when wingers actually run you into the penalty area. They're looking maybe for a bit of contact. It's like the timing of your challenge, and Luke Garber gets this one spot on. Never easy. He watches the ball. This is really good defending and slides in brilliantly.
Westwood. Back out to Ashley Westwood here, who goes low this time. Stabbed away by Marlon Pack. Leach-Smith coming back from an offside position there, and the flag goes up. Well, given the way that Crewe have played throughout their unbeaten run, there was one match in Oxford actually when they were really under the cosh. That was back in January. Steve Davis will tell you that was a real turning point in terms of belief. They thrived on adversity. They don't have an unbeaten run of the length that they have without it. That's overhit that one. And you feel in the remaining time here they're really going to have to dig deep, because Cheltenham are only going to increase the pressure, increase the aerial bombardment as the match ticks on and the stakes get higher, the tension rises, all those usual playoff final qualities come into play.
You see Steve Davis there trying to get his fans going, get the tempo raised, get the atmosphere lifted. And then you see him there just telling his players to start passing the ball again. That's what Crewe are so good at. They are going to have to defend in numbers as Cheltenham press them back, but they have to be brave in possession and start putting 10-15 passes together to take the sting out of the game.
This is better what they were doing earlier on. Powell saw it blocked by Bennett. Summerfield got enough on that just. Garber gets it away, but not out of play. Byron Moore. Run from Leach-Smith. He went to the near post. Tootle loses out to John Batty. Brings a blue moon from the Crewe supporters. They'll tell you that they were first to sing it ahead of your old boys Manchester City.
I thought it was Crewe moon, but it's definitely blue moon, is it?
Burgess. Pack. Summerfield. Now Luke Smith. Powell makes his move out to the left. Nick Powell. Tootle tried to dance away from John Batty, who holds him up well, allows support to come back. And the danger averted for now, but here's Nick Powell. Cheltenham defending manfully, dealing with everything that Crewe could throw at them for now. Garbutt. Summerfield. Himself in a little bit of a tangle there, Mohamed.
Yeah, just looking to lay that ball off for Goulding, who made a little run round him. First time we really seen Cheltenham get the ball on the floor into the feet of their strikers, and the idea was right from Mohamed. Just the execution just stumbled over the ball.
Summerfield. Mohamed. Goulding wants it outside. Mohamed. Ball to nowhere. There's Luke Smith. Westwood. Murphy. Powell. Tootle. Maybe not exactly from Nick Powell what his manager would have wanted him to do in that possession.
The game has certainly dropped in tempo though, and that's understandable. Halfway through the second half, it's very, very hot down there. The pitch saps your energy as well, and both sides seem to be struggling. You've got to be strong mentally and physically in these conditions to stick at it. Cheltenham to get back into the game, and Crewe to maybe get a second.
Hyde Mohamed. Summerfield. Pack. John Batty. He said he endeared himself to the Cheltenham Town supporters this year after his recruitment from non-league football. Flag has gone up against Ben Burgess. Well, it may be time for the drinks break. A quarter of the contest remaining.
I did get a sense, and that's maybe what the players needed since half-time. It's really slipped into a bit of a lull. And that, of course, will suit Crewe there. 1 goal to the good. Cheltenham very keen to keep the tempo high. Not easy in these conditions.
Well, Cheltenham's winning run in 4 games. Severely under threat, the last side to beat them, the only side in the last 6 to get the better of them, Crewe. And the scoreline was, as it stands at the moment, 1-0. You look at all the efforts they've had. There's still plenty of time, of course, Andy, to do something about it. But you think of the goal line clearances, particularly from Ashley Westwood. You think of Goulding firing against the crossbar. And you think of this moment, and maybe you think it's not your day.
Well, Cheltenham have had their chances, but when you've got a top young player like this in your side, you've always got the ability to grab a goal, possibly the winning goal, and just absolutely perfection. His first touch and his finish, you won't see better than that during the course of the season. One of the goals of the season, you'd have to say, in League Two.
And a crop of graduates that promises much again, echoing the golden produce of the past at Gresty Road. He is the star that shines the brightest, Nick Powell. Garbett. Tootle. Leach-Smith. Murphy. Matt Tootle. Leach-Smith. Mella. Burgess. Looking to get it on for Goulding. Pack. He was a striker when he was a kid at Portsmouth there from the age of 9. He's a big midfield player, 6'4" of him. This is Kaid Mohammed. 2 in the box for him to aim at. Phillips able to get enough of a grasp on it to smother any danger.
Really good position again from Steve Phillips. All about experience, but this is where Cheltenham need Mohammed running at Harry Davis. Just can't pull this ball far enough away from the goalkeeper. Excellent concentration, good handling from the Crewe keeper.
Garbett. That's a needless free kick to give away, really, Steve Elliott.
Just a really tired challenge from Steve Elliott. Just stumbles into the back of Nick Powell. That's all he's looking for. It's the shove. Once he goes to ground, the referee's always going to give the free kick.
Cheltenham construct their wall. It's what Westwood or Murphy has to aim at. Westwood looks to drop it in behind. Super save on the line by Brown. Tootle. And out by Summerfield. Murphy. Here's Leach-Smith. McGlashan. Having a run up this left now. Byron Moore matching him stride for stride before he just had a little nibble.
Oh, Byron Moore was so keen not to make a challenge because he knew that McGlashan is looking to possibly go to ground. He's running really down a cul-de-sac. There's cover on there for Crewe as well. All McGlashan is looking for is the free kick. You see Byron Moore running alongside him, not really wanting to make any type of challenge, and to me there's not a lot of contact there. This was a chance for Dugdale really to kill the game off. Scott Brown does absolutely brilliantly to keep his concentration, get a really strong left arm on this. It doesn't sit down for Dugdale, but brave keeping. He's kept Cheltenham in this game.
And here they are, up at the other end. Free kick of their own. In by Pack. Pack enlists the help of John Batty. Summerfield.
I can only think Luke Summerfield's going for goal here, but the angle's certainly against him. Ball was headed on by Alan Bennett. It's a good run from Summerfield. Maybe we'd better served here, trying to just help this into the 6-yard box. I think he's going for goal there. There's some goal from there to put that into the top corner.
Time for a change for Cheltenham. Well, Duffy, who's had a blonde rinse for the final, comes on, replacing Jeff Goulding. He is the top scorer, making his 50th appearance for the club, looking to add to his 15 goals that he has this season.
This was always an option for Mark Yates with the two strikers on the bench in Duffy and Spencer. He's gone for Darryl Duffy, top scorer for Cheltenham. Need a goal.
It's all about patience for them. No time to reach for any sort of panic button yet. Here's Duffy. Crowded out by Murphy. Packing with the challenge. It's come to McGlashan. Pack on the ball again. Duffy. Couldn't find a way through to McGlashan. Smith against Bennett. Nick Powell. Moore. And that's excellent covering from Garbutt, the fullback tracking him all the way.
Oh, that is absolutely outstanding. He probably knows Luke Garbutt is going to play more onside, but he's got to stay with him. He's got to time his tackle correctly. A couple of occasions now he's done really well.
Intended target is Burgess again. Moore. And use that fascinating duel he's got with Garbutt. Powell. Elliott out swiftly to block him. Westward. Powell. Moore. There's a wrestling match in the box there. I'm going to say a sigh of relief as nothing's given against Marlon Pack. Summerfield. Duffy. Mohammed. McGlashan. Too detailed to stop him do their job. Pack. And Marlon Pack involved and Luke Murphy there for a penalty shout.
It's a big call from Craig Parsons. The ball's played in. There seems to be a bit of pushing and shoving. Marlon Pack certainly got an arm round Luke Murphy. The referee seems to be in a decent position. He's got a good look at this, but there seems to be some contact there. He's certainly going to get to the ball first, the Crewe player. The referee's in an excellent position, a very good view, and never even budges. And to me, there's a definite shout there for a penalty.
Powell. So slippery. Twisting, turning, and eventually drawing the foul from Elliott.
So many attributes, Nick Powell. We know he's a goal scorer, but great balance and awareness of where defenders are around him, and he doesn't mind having the ball in tight areas. Great skill as well, and it's away from Steve Elliott. There's a slip there, there's a bit of a nudge as well. In these conditions, he's always going to go to ground and take the free kick and just eat into the clock.
Mario Gradi working up a sweat, working on the suntan. To one of his proteges, Steve Davis, to feel the real heat down in the dugout to try and get Crewe across this finishing line. And he came so close from the last set piece from this situation with Dugdale coming in at the far post. He's taken up a similar position. In the meantime, it's Max Clayton time. Off the bench to score the decisive goal in the playoff semi-final at Southend. He'll come on for the remaining 10 minutes or so here at Wembley. Nick Powell has already taken his moment in the sun, and Crewe supporters looking on. Can't help but feel maybe this is the last they'll have seen of him in a Crewe Alexandra shirt. If that contribution he's made is to be the winning goal, what a way to sign off. That's not for now, that's for about 10 minutes' time. Westwood. Summerfield got his head to it, so Crewe can have the corner now. And with 10 minutes to play, this is exactly where they will want to be.
It's a really important defensive header from Summerfield because he's worried about what's behind him. A couple of Crewe players looking to get a header in on goal, and all he can do is just help that ball on.
Everyone bar Jermaine McGlashan pulled back here for Cheltenham. Dugdale came at the near post. Back in by Byron Moore. Moore, lovely touch. Byron Moore, just wide.
Well, he works the space for himself absolutely brilliantly. He suckers a couple of defenders. They think he's going to take the shot early. This is not easy in a crowded penalty area, just to shift this ball onto his left foot. Just the last thing he needs is to scuff that ball, just needs to catch it cleanly. Got a really decent left foot. Just snatches at it. That's a really good opportunity for Moore.
Pack. Jumbati. Mohamed didn't quite get his head to it. Stand away by Dugdale. Leach Smith. Westwood. Moore just checks up on this bone-dry Wembley pitch. Leach Smith. Moore! And that should be that! Byron Moore with his 10th goal of the season. It's his best ever scoring season, and he probably has sealed Crewe's return to League One.
Well, he's so patient. This is what Crewe have done all season. Low expectations at the start of the season, but they've just continually built, playing quality football, patient build-up football. That's all they do here. They don't rush it. They just keep possession and work an angle for Byron Moore. He had a poor shot a minute or so ago with his left foot, but when it's on his right, he does well. He hits the target, keeps the ball down, but it's patient. They're looking tired, Cheltenham. They're looking laboured when they go forward, but Crewe are just patient. Plays it into Leach Smith, just makes an angle, lets the ball run across his body, and it's a really tidy finish. And at 2-0, it's an awfully long way back now for Cheltenham, but this is excellent work from Byron Moore. Doesn't panic, makes his move at the right time. It's a really confident finish.
Well, fitting given the Crewe philosophy that both their goals scored by their academy graduates. Nick Powell with the first, Byron Moore with the second. 7 minutes of normal time to play. Two changes for Cheltenham to try and bridge this two-goal chasm that they have to, if they're going to even take it to extra time. Roland Pack departing the stage. Russell Penn, his replacement. Jimmy Spencer, striker who started both of the semi-finals, also coming on. Crewe use all their changes, and they're going to rue all their missed chances. And by Garbutt. History is certainly against Cheltenham. talking about that playoff tie yesterday, weren't we? It was the last one at Wembley, settled on penalty shootouts between Gillingham and Manchester City. It's the last time a deficit such as this was overturned at this stage in playoff history. More defensive-minded Carl Martin coming on to try and make sure that Cheltenham don't get any chink of a opening to get back into this match. Cheltenham's perfect playoff record. Twice they've contested the playoff at this level. Twice they have succeeded. It's about to be ended by Crewe, who about this time a year ago, 13 months ago in fact, inflicted one of the low points of Mark Yates's reign, an 8-1 defeat, which led to a lot of soul searching, to a summer of rebuilding, and led to a season this year which has surpassed expectations, even as you would suspect this 2-goal deficit is too much for Cheltenham to come back from. Let's not forget, for them it has been an excellent season. They were among the favourites for relegation at the start of it. And on an afternoon where there always has to be one that misses out, it looks like it will be them.
It doesn't matter what happens here. Mark Yates is very, very proud of his side and how hard they've worked this season to get to this point. It will be heartbreaking if they, of course, don't go up. At the end of the game, if they don't make it, it'll be down to the missed chances. Really good opportunities they've had in the game.
And this afternoon's attendance, 24,029,
He looks stunned, doesn't he? It wasn't supposed to end like this, not when, at the beginning of March, they were nicely cemented in the top two. Moore is offside. For the month in which they played 7 games, didn't win 1, only picked up 1 point. That's when it all started going wrong. They had an excellent recovery, did well against the Torquay side, who were beset by disappointment themselves, to book this place at Wembley. McGlashan. Elliott.
And a big difference, though, for Cheltenham between the semi-finals, the 2 legs, and this final is that when chances have come along, they've not taken them. Torquay had plenty of chances in those semi-finals, didn't take them. Cheltenham did in the final here at Wembley. Good chances have come and gone, and Crewe have played well. They've scored 2 excellent goals. You can't take that away from Crewe, but I'm sure Mark Yates will say to his players, we needed to be more ruthless.
Well, every playoff final has its massive moments, and you think back to that goal line clearance that he made from Qaid Mohammed in the first half. They were really under the cosh, the start of this half and the end of the last. Now Crewe very much in the comfort zone. Tootle. Clayton. Byron Moore, might be another here!
Oh, this would have been the icing on the cake. It's really good play from Max Clayton. Just gets his body in the way of defenders and just rolls that ball back into the path of Byron Moore. Gets it out of his feet really well. It's a good opportunity, just drags it wide, and it was a real opportunity to kill the game off.
Summerfield. Well, Cheltenham need to keep believing. There will be a fairly hefty chunk of added time at the end. One goal would certainly make it interesting, but at the same time, will they leave themselves open at the other? Moore. Bennett came quite close to giving away something there. Clayton. Fine save by Brown. Just about keeps them in it.
Oh, Max Clayton does everything right. Lets the ball come across his body, strikes it well enough. It's a really super save.
Davis. Well, 6 added minutes. Summerfield. Seeking McGlashan, he was holding to lose out in an aerial battle. Carl Martin, fresh legs. Clayton wanted the early ball, it's to Byron Moore. Now Clayton gets it. Tuchel in the centre. The 17-year-old. Sees it blocked away by the significantly more experienced Bennett, 13 years his senior. And the man you see in your picture there, Kaid Mohammed, will probably leave with more regrets than most. He had the lion's share of really good chances.
It was that big opportunity, wasn't it, when the scoreline was 1-0 and he broke in behind the Cheltenham defence. Steve Phillips made a decent save, but really that's the defining moment, maybe, that clearance off the line from Westwood. That's a big moment in the game as well, but Mohammed will be disappointed he's not scored today.
And just after that moment of magic from Nick Powell, Goulding firing one from range against the crossbar. Providing Cheltenham with what-if moments. Still got just over 4 minutes of added time to try and force the unlikely, but you do sense the shoulders have just started to go down. When you're in the 3rd minute of added time and the heat bears down and the scoreline glares down, you do start to feel a little sorry for yourselves. So near, but yet so far. Moore. He's carved out a corner. An early start. Mind you, those Manchester City fans here against Gillingham all left early, didn't they? They had to run along the tube tracks to come back when it went to extra time.
We've seen it at Wembley before, we've seen it at the Etihad as well. It's not unthinkable. It'd be very surprising now if Cheltenham were to turn this around or give themselves a chance of taking the game to extra time.
Not impossible, but increasingly improbable. Crewe, who started the match the stronger, finish it the stronger. Cheltenham enjoyed the superiority throughout the middle section of it. But it's not going to be enough. Mohammed. Garbutt. Well, proud moments for so many involved in Crewe, Alexandra. Pride about to become elation and about to become promotion. To make one more substitution in the 6th minute of added time. Clayton, Moore, Martin. And the Crewe supporters dusted off the Olays. McGlashan. John Batty. Summerfield wants it, but John Batty driving through. There's Dugdale. John Batty. And in the dying seconds, there's a Cheltenham corner. Crewe will now use the opportunity to make their change. Kelvin Mellor will come off to make way for Lee Bell. Well, I think they want to change the substitution. They want to bring off Byron Moore, rather. Board malfunction. So they're not going to take off a defender before a corner. They're going to take off the scorer of the second goal. Such shenanigans which take us toward the 8th added minute here. Well, Crewe have won many admirers this season with their philosophy and their brand of football. They have now won promotion back to League One. A final that they started so well and took the lead in sensational style through Nick Powell. They had to really dig deep, show the other side of their character as Cheltenham carved out chance after chance, which they failed to take. And then the crucial blow struck late in the second half by Byron Moore to seal the deal for Crewe Alexandra, who probably just about edged it on the day.
Well, that's an incredible run to get into the playoffs from Crewe Alexandra. And what they were at Wembley was more clinical. Great finishing from Powell and Byron Moore. That's the difference between the two sides. You don't take your chances in big games like this. It's not going to work out for you. But 19 games unbeaten. You've got to congratulate Crewe on their promotion.
Crewe started in February after they lost at Southend. Their confidence and their swagger grew and grew and grew. It has taken them from the brink of relegation, 18th, when Steve Davis took over, to League One. Let's hear from Steve Davis. He's with Greg Whelan.
Steve, you're taking Crewe Alexandra back into League One in your first season. How proud are you at this moment?
Very proud, very emotional. You know, fantastic for the lads. You know, it's a very, very young team, so hopefully we can keep them together and continue with the success. They've done fantastic today.
When you took over in November, could you possibly have imagined the campaign ending like this?
Not at all. Obviously, you know, we're 18th. You know, we're really struggling. And it's just built that confidence, and you know, this is what we've seen today. This is the end product of it all, if you like. So we've done fantastic they have.
19 games unbeaten. What's been the key?
Just confidence, and you know, we get results, and the players feel better, and they just get more confident, and they're just resilient. They don't know when they're beaten now. So, no, it's just improving that mental strength, and as they get a bit older, they're starting to develop it now. You know, so I'm really proud of them.
2 great goals. Tremendous first goal from Nick Powell in what could be his last game for the club. How pleased are you for him?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. You know, he got all the Player of the Year awards, and rightly so. He's our most talented player at the moment, and he's got a great future, and that's the sort of things he can produce.
Great day for Crewe, Alexandra. How special a day for the Davies family?
Very special. Obviously, Harry's come through as well, and the wife and family up there. So they'll be very proud and very emotional. I think they'll be crying with a few tears up there today.
Steve, many congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
What a job he's done. They were 18th when he took over on November the 10th. Well, let's hear from the man he's just been talking about, Nick Powell, and also Ashley Westwood there alongside Patrick Davison.
Nick, Ashley, many congratulations. Nick, together through the academy now, together you won promotion at Wembley. How special is this?
Well, I've been here 12 years and Ashley's been here a long, long time as well. I'm one of the youngest, but I feel one of the oldest in a way.
Talk us through the goal, because that's the sort of thing you dream of in the back garden, isn't it? We knew you were good. I don't think we knew you were that good.
If I'm honest, I just whacked it. Mate, there was nothing in that, I just whacked it.
At what point did you realise you were going to have a crack? Because the first touch was pretty special as well.
Well, I knew the guy was away to my left, so I thought, I've got this space, I might as well have a go.
Ashley, just as important as Nick's goal, your clearance off the line.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know much about it. It's come at me like a rocket, and lucky enough, I've got something on it to get it off the line.
Did you think it was over?
It come like a rocket, mate. I haven't got a clue.
Where's this come from? I think when Steve Davis took over, you were 18th with 19 points. What changed?
Just the intensity in the training. I mean, all the lads are together. We've got a great team spirit. We've come through the academy together, and then I think that's got us here in the end.
And to do it as a group with lads that have come through the academy, does that make it that bit more special?
Yeah, I mean, the likes of me, Murph and AJ, we've grown up together. We're all local lads, and we know how much it means to the club.
Nick, final question to you. The club's made a habit of producing fantastic young players and then moving them on to bring in important money. What's next for you?
I just want to enjoy the night with the boys, and we're celebrating my futures, whatever it is. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not concentrating on it. I'm looking forward to the celebrations now with the boys.
Well done today. You're the Empower man of the match. Ashley, do the honours.
I think his goal was a little more cultured than he would suggest. I just whacked it, he said, but the first touch was quite something. Grant McCann, Neil Lennon, Peter Bigrey alongside me. Neil, I guess when we look back at this final, it all came down to who took their chances the better.
Yeah, I mean, Cheltenham did have their chances, but Crewe had that little bit of extra quality at the top end of the pitch. And what I liked about Crewe today was, you know, no matter what Cheltenham threw at them, they kept playing the same way. They played with great belief, and as Steve mentioned, they've got a great mentality, which obviously comes from winning football games, and what a run they've been on. And they played brilliantly second half as well.
Let's have a chat with the captain, David Artell. Here's with Patrick Davison.
Dave, a special day to the club. Just what does it mean to you?
Oh, it's fantastic. We've got 15,000 fans. We've had 19 games unbeaten. We've had people along the way. We've lost people. His kit man died last year. It's fantastic.
What's it like playing with these kids, especially the way they started the game, leading them, showing the lack of fear they play with?
Well, they've done that for 19 games, and it's worked to our advantage. Everyone's sort of said, "Oh, the kids are they going to crumble?" They don't know how special this is. That's the fact of the matter. And they've showed today, especially in the first 20-25 minutes, how good they are. Paolo's goal was the greatest in his stadium, and we set a stall out. We had to hang on at times. But we've developed that over the last sort of 6 months, and there's a lot of the young boys there, 17 just out of school, but they're men. It's as simple as that.
Very well done, Dave. Enjoy the celebrations.
Cheers, thanks very much.
And those celebrations will go long into the night as Crewe celebrate returning to League One. Peter, we just heard from Neil there. It was ultimately down today to composure in front of the goal, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah. And you know, these youngsters are fearless and they back themselves. We knew they had the ability, but I think is the Crewe ways, is the good human beings as well, very relaxed. When you saw them warming up, the smiles on their faces, they enjoyed the football. They weren't perturbed in the stadium at all. And we saw the difference that Steve Davis has made, the strength and resolve, putting your body on the line, the roles and responsibility. Westwood getting back on the line and knocking off. They know how to win, as well as being very, very good footballers. And yeah, you wouldn't have thought that Artell and Phillips were the two oldest out there with the maturity of the performances. It was brilliant.
Grant, you were on the pitch at Old Trafford last season celebrating your victory against Huddersfield for Peterborough. What are the conversations that happen between players at this point?
They just can't wait to get up there and lift the trophy, really. You know, it's going to be a great occasion for them, especially for the skipper there, David Artell. So, you know, I thought Crewe maybe just edged it in the end. A little bit disappointed for Cheltenham, obviously, but you know, I thought Crewe looked really solid second half, and the two midfielders got on the ball a lot, Westwood and Murphy, and you know, they looked solid.
time to celebrate, time to lift the trophy. Let's rejoin Andy Hinchcliffe and Bill Leslie.
And all these Crewe Alexandra players will remember this date, Sunday, May the 27th, the date of their final push, the latest in a series of standout moments this season. We look back to November the 5th. That was the date they decided it was time for Dario Gradi to move upstairs. 5 days later, Steve Davis became the manager. They lost the first game, cup tie against Colchester, just 4 defeats in 32 since. And this astonishing club record, now 19-game unbeaten run. It is a momentum that has carried them all the way. It has carried them to a treble against Cheltenham. It has carried them to the 3rd tier. Mostly young, mostly homegrown, but with a little bit of experience in there as well. David Artell, the Crewe captain, leading the way up the steps. The experienced head that marshals this young band of brothers, which fulfills dreams and expectations. As we've heard already, most of them hometown boys, pretty much all of them, 9 of the 11 in the starting 11, all coming through. And it makes moments like this, Andy, all that little more special.
It's just an absolutely extraordinary story. If you said to these players 19 games ago you'd be climbing the Wembley steps, you'd have just won the playoff final, they wouldn't have believed you. The club is run on the right level. They know exactly what type of football they want to play, and they believe in their young players, and that's why Crewe are climbing the stairs to pick up that trophy.
Well, that climb, and last time that they came out of this league back in 1994, it led to a pretty extended stay in the Championship. Obviously, the questions as to how many of this group will stay together will dictate how far they will go, but this a moment to savour. Hard work, dedication, extra hours put in. A band of brothers that came through the academy together, and now together they climb into League One. The best part of 15,000 Crewe Alexandra fans celebrate the man who has shaped the club, celebrates Dario Gradi, who's been in charge there since the early 80s. Mr. Crewe, he shaped the philosophy. He's provided the framework through which players and talented youth can flourish, including Steve Davis, a former player there himself. And there'll be few prouder here than Dario Gradi himself.
Absolutely. League One better watch out as well, because this Crewe side, if they do manage to keep all these young players together, they won't change their philosophy. They will really entertain next season.
Max Clayton, the 17-year-old who scored the goal to bring them to Wembley. So many wonderful stories within this wonderful runner. Word of sympathy, commiseration for Cheltenham at this point, who played their part in what was a pretty good final, given the conditions, given the stakes. They threw absolutely everything to try and keep their good run going, turn their 4 wins into 5, but they fell a little short against a special moment from Nick Powell, and against a late blow that it was always going to be hard to recover from. It's just about old enough to drink, AJ Leach-Smith, but you sense they'll all enjoy themselves tonight. Club that feels it belongs on a higher stage, and most of the last couple of decades it has been on a higher stage. Difficult times after relegation 3 years ago when they actually came down with Cheltenham, but here they are rising again. Steve Davis, who came in November, and on this wonderful sunny day in May he's seen his young charges fulfill the ambitions. But Crewe Alexandra celebrate their return to League One.